Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. Welcome back to the Rethink Tank Live, the only place where late night hosts, Supreme Court justices, and AI politicians somehow share the same stage. Tonight, we've got a full slate. Jimmy Kimmel Live is back on the air tonight after what might be the shortest suspension in TV history. Did anyone even notice he was gone? Oh, big time. Then the Supreme Court is weighing whether the president should have the power to fire agency officials without cause. Will this damage the healthy balance of power, or will it finally give the public a chance to have some influence on the arm of the government that operates outside of our elections and the checks and balances we learned about in government class? And finally, Albania just rolled out the world's first AI government minister. They're promising it'll wipe out corruption because nothing says trust us like putting a robot in charge of bribes. Let's get right into it. All right, so Jimmy Kimmel Live is officially back tonight, suspended for less than a week. ABC says he's returned after thoughtful conversations, but don't get too comfortable. Several local stations, including big affiliates like Sinclair and Nexstar, are refusing to air the show. They're demanding an apology and donations to conservative causes like Turning Point USA. So yeah, he's back, but not really. Now, everyone on the left is framing this as an attack on free speech. Sure, you could spin it that way, but let's not forget the bigger story, the real assault on free speech last week, where a free speech advocate got shot in the neck just for promoting free speech, the very thing we're supposed to be defending. And yet the same political party that would cancel someone for an off-color joke made decades ago is suddenly lecturing the entire country on forgiveness. On the other hand, I get the other side's argument too. Kimmel's joke about Charlie Kirk wasn't directly diminishing Kirk and really only criticizing Trump, which, yes, that is clearly protected speech. If an employer doesn't want to fund a show, that's their prerogative. Freedom works both ways. But when you look at the bigger picture, it seems like there was more going on than just a business decision. There's collusion, there's corporate pressure. It's political theater dressed up as morality. And if the FCC actually cared about misinformation, targeting a late night comedian who's repeating widely repeated news is way less dangerous than letting CNN and MSNBC broadcast authoritative lies unchecked. But silence the comedian, make the headlines, and call it a victory. That's the reality of political theater. Tonight's Kimmel's ratings will spike. Curiosity and controversy always sell. But the question is longevity. Can this show really sustain attention, or is this just a temporary bump fueled by outrage? Because when you peel back the layers, this wasn't social justice. It was corporate financials moves on a failing program dressed up as a moral tale. And that's something thinkers have been pointing out for years. The people who claim to fight for free speech are often the first to weaponize it when it's convenient. So before we really could get into the dialogue today, I think the first thing we need to do is see the video that caused such outrage, that calls for the removal of Jimmy Kimmel.
Lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition. Construction.
That is low-key
Not how an
funny.
adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. Okay.
So that's what upset people. But he isn't saying Charlie Kirk is like, it's like mourning a goldfish. It's more of a ridicule of the president and his reaction to a so-called friend and a crushing loss. And let's acknowledge Trump tends to always have a childlike approach to much of his politics. And I think on the to his benefit, he's probably been asked this question 100 times in the last week. And it's like, all right, I also want to move on to something else. This is what's going on over my shoulder, but at the same time, there's a clean way of doing that, and I guess to his benefit, he's never had that ability to cleanly do it. But this wasn't speech that I found to be as inflammatory as the reels we've done on this show of Democrats literally calling for violence. And I think the bigger point, as I made kind of in that opening monologue there, is if you truly find it dangerous to say the person who did this to Charlie was a MAGA supporter, and you can have, and you know what, maybe I should get to it now. Have you seen, and I'd like to, if you could jump in and tell us the one fact you got on this lady, but I have a clip here of Representative Ilhan Omar. And this is her on CNN. This to me is way worse. And this is coming from an authoritative news channel and an authoritative person. Jimmy Kimmel's just a comedian.
I think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what
death.
I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
I find reprehensible is marrying your brother to get into this country.
That is the new news this week, that she got caught marrying her brother to get him citizenship. And then she takes political speeches to say how she intends to go back. If you intend to go back, then why'd you have to sneak your brother in?
Yeah, I mean, for all my gripes to Jimmy Kimmel, at the end of the day, it's like he is a true, like, blooded American. And at the end of the day, like, I don't see him going on television and necessarily bashing the country. He may not agree with the other side of the aisle, and that's fine. And I don't think his freedom of speech should have been infringed on, although I do have some conspiracies about this whole situation, but we can wait to get into that. But like when it comes to the Ilhan Omar thing, referring to like Charlie as like a dustbin of humanity, it's like, okay.
Right.
What are we doing here?
And so that's what I really needed to balance the Kimmel dialogue here with. For the last week and a half now, we've had to deal with people boldly stating flat out, he got what he deserved because he promoted violence. And yet nobody has real violence to point at. Like, man, if you had a hole in the neck that Charlie's responsible for, you'd really have a smoking gun. You can't even get that. But you have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of Charlie talking. You can't get me one soundbite that you're like, this deserves execution. But I'm going to continue to say every word he said was violence deserving of execution.
Well, here's the sad reality. To them, it is violent.
Yes.
Violent speech. You know, that's the thing. That's like where the decorum of speech like differentiates between like how you infer it and how they infer it. It's like they genuinely hear Charlie talk and be like, that is hate speech. Like he's actually being violent against me. In reality, he's just having civil discourse. That's
so
the scary
true.
thing. Like that's the scary thing. Whereas like Ilhan Omar, a sitting politician, is going on CNN saying, he's a dustbin. Essentially, he's an anal of
No,
history.
yeah, leave him in the dustbin of history.
Yeah. And it's
Like leave him in the trash.
yeah. Yeah. Essentially, yeah. No, that's kind of like how it's responded. So like, I mean, like my gripes with Kimmel, like, I don't think he's that funny. But he's allowed to say what he's allowed to say. That's the benefit of free speech. But like, all right, now I want to get into my conspiracy. I think he was in on this completely.
It was all stunt.
It was all stunted. He professional football players get suspended longer for doing less than he got. He got suspended for 3 business days, not even a full week. A 3 business day suspension. He got the week off. He gave him PTO. And then he can come back and be a martyr. I mean, that's what this was like. And at the end of the day, it's great. I'm sure they did a backdoor deal with him too. And they're like, hey, in January, we're probably not going to rehire you unless you do something drastic to get yourself back and get your ratings back up. And this could possibly be it. Because Jimmy Kimmel's not a dumb person. No. I may not like him, but he's not dumb. He 100% knew what he was saying was an inflammatory thing to a certain degree, and then he used it to do what he's done the last decade, and it's to criticize Trump. He's done the same thing he's done every single day of his life, and that's fine.
Jimmy Kimmel isn't dumb. That's what Will says. Jimmy Kimmel isn't dumb. Jimmy Kimmel isn't dumb. So who is Jimmy Kimmel? Someone's track record, their history, that's what tells you who they are. Who is Jimmy Kimmel?
Is there a problem? And did you find the hole I drilled in your dressing room?
Nope. What's going on up there? Do UFO live on other planets? Coming up, we've got girls jumping on trampolines. Oh, listen, I'm being serious here, too. I was checking women out as I walked down the aisle at my wedding. That is not a joke. A dam to stop the river of estrogen that is drowning us in political correctness. Look at those juggies. God damn.
I think he's been backstroking in the river of estrogen, pushing political correctness too much.
Like
his words, not mine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why it's like, no, I don't think he's dumb. I think he's incredibly smart at maneuvering whatever part of Hollywood there is, and he probably doesn't want to go out the way. Like Colbert, like literally in 1 year, you're going to have 2 prominent left-leaning political talk show hosts lose their jobs. Colbert's losing his next year. It's already been confirmed. Jimmy was on the way out, and they're like, you gotta make something happen here. You gotta make something happen here, or you're out. The only caveat that I find interesting, and this is where I think like the broadcast stations that aren't going to be showing his shows, this is where I think they're making the mistake. And I'm not saying I disagree with what they're doing. I get why they're doing it. These are people who are actually upset with what he's saying. And they're probably like, no, we don't care. We don't want him to re-sign in the future. But it's like, there's got to be some deal that's there. Or they just wanted this extension to last longer, this suspension. It lasted 3 days. We know people at work who just take 3 days off because they have the sniffles. We
have people that take off because their best friend of 5 years doesn't want to be their friend anymore. Yeah. That's millennials at work.
So like, the fact that within a single week he's back on, and the fact that this was blown so out of proportion, for me, it's like, I'm not buying all this. But what I will say is there is one fine lining that I learned through all of this, is that this government isn't as fascistic as I was meant to believe.
Yeah, because, right. Wow.
I was told
free market
last week, like, this is all this is. It's state-run media. And really all it took was Disney to just be like,
I changed my mind.
A couple less moms want to subscribe to us, and Jimmy's back on. Jimmy's back.
No, even more so, there wasn't that outrage. Like in 3 days, nobody can cancel their subscription enough for Disney to feel the hurt,
they had no
which
idea.
Really fuels that conspiracy. You're kind of like, it's kind of like this was the perfect play.
Well, did you hear about the shooting also?
No.
There was the tolerant individuals on one side of the political aisle, I guess, took a couple of firecracker shots. Firecracker, that was a word used on CNN regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination, took some firecracker celebratory shots at an ABC studio. And then the next day, Jimmy Kimmel was allowed to go back on TV. Also, there was a note left behind.
So Antifa got what they wanted. The anti-fascists got their fascist way once again.
With violence. It's so weird. I can't believe they did that. But they also left a note too, apparently, that said like had like the names of like Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and like a bunch of other like right-wing like talk show and podcasters and stuff like that. And Jimmy's back. He's back. It's like he never left. He got to go to the Maldives for a 5-day trip.
You know, and back to the side that will kick you out of hosting the Grammys because you tweeted something 10 years ago about dollhouses and your kid. However,
Who did that?
I can't. It was Kevin Hart.
That's right. I was like, I know you're not wrong. Who is it?
But you know, they're not hypocrites. You know, they're not. I always say forever. A Democrat is someone that wants to have their cake, eat it too, and then be a victim when there's no more cake. Here's Barack Obama. Great. Okay. When we're going back to 2015, great news for America. The ratings challenge Sean Hannity show is canceled. Congratulations to Fox News for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Hannity has zero talent and worse ratings than Glenn Beck. If that's possible, that leaves Tucker and Gutfeld, two total losers. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, Fox. Guess what? Both of those folks brings in such bigger crowds than Obama, literally today, just a decade later.
I'm going to ask, did he actually tweet this? Because this sounds like a Trump tweet.
Yeah.
Like,
What's hilarious about this?
I'm just saying.
What's hilarious is this came prior to Trump. So we project this like cartoonish ability to politics on Trump, but this has been a ploy of the.
And you've seen others do it, like Gavin Newsom's doing it now, where he's tweeting like he's trying to talk like Trump, and it's like you don't have it, like you don't have it, like whatever it is that Trump has, like that kind of like just tweet like he talks kind of mentality, like you just don't have it. And the only type of people that could have it are boomers that don't understand the internet,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you're speaking like you're talk, but I mean like. Let me ask you the question. Do you think Kimmel should be canceled?
What do you mean?
Like fired off the show, off it?
His show? No, I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. That's like asking me, you know, should they keep selling the boo-boos? I'm not buying them. So like,
okay, yeah.
This is really a question for the, like, I want to ask Doug's mom why she turns on The View. That's pretty much the only question I have. Yeah. Why are you turning on Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight? Well, I want to see. He's making his comeback. That monologue's going to be tight. Okay, cool. Now I want to know why you're turning on Jimmy Kimmel Live in November. Let's give it a couple months. Now why are you doing it? He's just so funny. We're living in two different worlds.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If you're like, well, I really don't like him. He's a jackwagon, but I just don't like conservative media, and that's all I got. Okay, but the crazy thing is, like, your question is so bound to a boomer world, because a boomer world only has two channels,
right?
Conservative TV, Democrat TV, and it's like, dude, you and I'm gonna throw it out there. Hang me for it. Listening to Nick Fuentes on PBD's podcast. What a listen. What a listen. And it's like fascinating to hear how these political figures like start their career. Where do you put PBD on this like spectrum of politics? It's like you're either bound by the binary of cable world, or you live in the infinity of I can listen to the whole spectrum, libertarian, Green Party. And what's beautiful of that world is they all blend. Like some world you're going to have,
in most regards,
Candace talking to Tim Dillon, and it's like, buckle up, this is going to be goofy.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So there's so much diversity in this new generation of media that it's like, really, the question's for you. Why are you turning this on still when there's all of this? Like, again, you could turn on Good Mythical Morning. That's neither of those. And it's just people eating like worms in a bowl of cereal. That could be your media. Why do you watch that? It's entertaining. I get it. Why'd you turn on Jimmy Fallon? He makes me laugh. Really?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Really?
That was the thing when you did the opening monologue and like you showed the Kimmel joke, and it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm desensitized because I've heard it enough this week, but it's like I don't find late night television like funny. And like I give you kudos because you've been the Saturday Night Live fan your whole life, so like you find that stuff entertaining. I don't think I've found Saturday Night Live funny in 15 years. Like very rarely do. So I heard him say his joke, and I just sat there like, I know that was funny to somebody, but for me, it's like that was so like nails on a chalkboard funny. And it's not because it's Kimmel, it's just because of like, oh, I get this delivery, but it's probably because I'm so used to this wide, vast spectrum of personalities that are like literally at my fingertips rather than turning on late night television at 11 at night.
I love that. And I want to piggyback off of that, but we've been going a while and I want to get to the pickle gallery. Ricky, do you have any thoughts on this Jimmy Kimmel stuff?
I like it because everyone is like feeling the taste of their own medicine, as y'all been saying. Like they're getting the taste of what they've been doing. I love it. So maybe stuff will just equal itself out now. And cancel culture is canceled. And comedians are allowed to be comedians, no matter how dry the comedy is or whatever. If it's in the faith of comedy, we're just gonna leave it at that. And Jimmy getting suspended, I thought it was stupid. I don't like that the FACC or whatever, that branch that control TV and whatever, is kind of like
Clemson and them got him.
Like colluding, like saying the guy came out and was like, y'all should get him off TV. Got him off. Cancel. People cancel their Disney. Oh, you believe in that as well, which is wherever you spend your money, make your money do the talking. Make your attention and your money do the talking. If you don't agree, do what you got to do. And I love it. I feel like everything within the next year and a half should equal itself out. Like,
I mean that is the true north. Vote with your views, vote with your dollars. And if the vast majority of the world is like, I still love Jimmy Kimmel, then democracy.
Here's the hard part.
I thought the joke was funny when Trump spoke. When him talking, okay, but when the Trump video came out, I was like, all right, yeah, this, like you said, it's funny.
I agree.
It's funny. The funny part of Jimmy Kimmel's joke is Trump.
Well, and again, that's a strong writer's room. Looking at like an absurd situation and using him as the punchline, which he does a great job of making himself the punchline. But this is a gray area. This was something. Okay, so the next topic we're going to move into is this consideration by the Supreme Court in allowing the president to remove agency officials without cause. And I was going to kind of blend this in on that consideration, but a major headline right now is how Trump has signed an order designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. So Will's over here talking about it again, how our media is manipulating us and manipulating the truth and using headlines and specific facts of a situation to cause racial division, political division, really just the basis of social division. And here we got Antifa shooting up ABC. We don't even hear about it. And then ironically, this fascist organization gets exactly what they want the next day. So Trump's out here designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. That's going to have all of these implications. What's interesting is socially, we go, how could you hold this PC culture, cancel culture against Jimmy Kimmel? But nobody thought twice when, we allowed Kathy Griffin out here to post pictures like this. Oh, sorry, not like this, like this. And it's like, throw her away. We can't let her exist ever again. And now this lady's life is over.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Sure. So when you balance that with here is a band that's like mainly European. I've seen it quite a bit on TikTok, and this was their most recent one following the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. So when you've got a band whose shtick is doing crap like this on stage every time, I mean, I apologize for, the viewers. This is kind of gruesome, but seriously, this is what are they simulating here?
Remember a month ago when they wanted to all on their side wanted to all cancel Sydney Sweeney for jeans?
For jeans.
Yeah,
jeans.
Yeah.
She's a Nazi. This is cool. This is good stuff. And again, like I said, I apologize for showing this, but this is a real fabric to your society right now. And what's less disturbing is that this is part of the show. What's more disturbing is the appetite in the audience for this. So the meme or the person that posted this on Twitter, the account that posted it was I meme, therefore I am. And I love the point. First off, this is heavy metal band Gwar staged a mock beheading of Elon Musk before. Oh yeah, I've seen tons and tons of these videos on TikTok. This point I thought was the perfect reflection. I see a lot of comments telling me they've been doing this for years to different political figures. I knew that much. I think what I wasn't clear enough about, my question is, how the F did we even get to the point where staging the murders of prominent figures is considered entertainment? Before, when Kathy Griffiths does this, everybody's like, yeah, no, left, right, we agree. We don't want to enter this world. How strong is the propaganda in the media that you have 50% of the country, an entire political faction that literally does not see politics without violence? You must incorporate violence.
I mean, hell, just ask Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm sure she could give you a great answer. Because, I mean, it's and you've been seeing it for years. It's like I said, it's like, I don't mean to harp on the Sydney Sweeney thing again, but it's like this side that's calling for her to be a fascist, a neo-Nazi, all those things is the same one that's saying Jimmy Kimmel was attacked by a fascistic state government to have a state media who then wants to have Gwar play at their Super Bowl, probably, whatever, like it's delusional two-state world. There's zero ability for either side to come and look and be like, listen, what Jimmy said was fine. Just say a minor apology. That's it. That's it. You don't even have to apologize to Trump because you're going to immediately make a joke about Trump right after the apology. And I'm going to sit back and be like, yeah, that's fair. You can do that. It's just like, it's gotten to this point because it's views, it's attention. And then while they're doing that, while they're having that little entertainment thing, the people in the crowd loves it. They don't just kind of like it. They love it. They eat it up. It's like ritualistic for them.
Yes.
And it's really one side leaning towards another. I'm not seeing any of these concerts from other people where like it's like a pinata Ilhan Omar,
right,
making comments,
or Hillary Clinton,
or Clinton, or any of them. It's just, how do I think it got to this point? It's like I really do think Kathy Griffin was actually a martyr for them, like in a certain sick way.
Well, how did we get here? To better answer that, I feel as though you had an entire faction where, again, Kathy Griffin does this, and this is the first time we're all kind of like, whoa, we don't do that. And even, your third grade public school teacher who's hates Trump and staunchly Democrat, we all still had enough decorum, moral strength to go, nah, we don't do that. That's not us. We're not going to become that. And what's the problem is, look at like people who murder. Well, when you get away with one, there's like, oh, I loved it. And then you do it more and you do it more. It's like, this is something that you fed something within them, like being a bully on the playground, if like you just keep rewarding that behavior, and then like, what if you go back into the classroom and the teacher's like, bully, good job, punch him again? Like, you have the entire environment we've been living in has been not only kind of coaching them along, but then it's also been like rewarding it. So here's the game plan, but then also you're going to be professionally, educationally, financially benefited if you further this ideology. And now we're a decade into it. We're at this is it rolled out to its final iteration.
2020 definitely escalated it to the nth degree. I mean, if you think of like all the rioting that
Yeah,
was happening,
fair.
the amount of people that were like doing legitimate crimes and just getting out with like not even a slap on the wrist.
Interesting. And you know what I think even more
You're
came
talking
from
about
that?
like to go off
No,
like your
you're-
point of like the bully. It's like the bully literally was being a bully, got arrested, and was literally let out to go be a bully more.
Even more so, what you saw at 2020, like this was a turning point where people were able to fractal their logic and their way of thinking just to further the party agenda.
Yes.
6 feet apart, wear a mask, double mask, don't need a mask. Like, it didn't matter. Now I'm wearing a mask, even though they're telling me I don't have to, or whether or not, who knows, but I'm wearing it more so departing from logic and as a symbol of my loyalty. And that was the beginning of this like cult creation.
What was the banner?
Rainbows. I mean, there's plenty of
For
it.
me, for George Floyd. That was the first trigger point. Like when you say like what was the first one? Because I agree with your point. Like push their political or ideological one. What was the like? Sure, it was always like like the pride and all that stuff, but it wasn't just strictly that. In 2020, you saw it right then and there, and it triggered months and months of it. And now their side, I understand, like their fear is maybe Charlie Kirk triggered it in the opposite direction. And we don't know. It just started, but like very well could be, or it could not. Reason could like kind of outweigh it all. But like, I'm with you on that point of like, it definitely was like a fracture to where it was like, it was all politically and ideologically motivated in terms of like this like bully culture then.
Well, and the sad part is it's no longer just a frame of thinking that can be debated out of delusion.
I agree.
Like now it is completely convicted monster.
Yep.
There is no bartering. There is no consideration. Their way is law. And one of the things I had tweeted in the wake of this Charlie Kirk situation is this is for the longest, when I went to government class and I'm in high school, 16 years ago, I'm sitting at the dinner table with my mom and dad, and the consideration then, and it always was, Republican versus Democrat. Abraham Lincoln, Republican versus Democrat. George Washington, Republican versus Democrat. I think we are at right now. It will never be articulated this way, but this is your political reality. It is Democrat versus non-Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Non-Democrat being the catch-all that do not speak the collective cult. You could be the Green Party, Libertarian, No Party, Apolitical, New Party, Republican. As long as you're not Democrat, you are their enemy. They are intolerant to anybody, anything, any consideration that does not march the party ideology, period.
You want to know what's funny is too, is like when you think of like Jimmy Kimmel, then like bringing it back to Jimmy Kimmel, it's like he's probably the most moderate of them on their side you could probably think of. Like, like it's like, look at the Gavin Newsom conversation where he had with, I mean, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, but it's like he said one thing out of line and the collective mindset, like, held him to the flames on it, and that's all it took. So I'm with you. Yeah, I do think there's like this kind of collective argument on their side that it's like, if you aren't checking literally every box and checking it in the correct way, you're not on our side.
That's a sad reality. All right, let's get to our rapping thoughts. Ricky, I want to start with you. Do you have any rapping thoughts on the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation? He's back live tonight.
Let's get back to what freedom of speech mean. It's free speech. Like, it can't kill ya. It's just words. What they say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt. If you don't like what someone is saying, don't pay them no attention. Like,
Sticks
it's simple.
and stones. See, but you got to speak like a liberal. Sticks and stones are what I get you to speak my words.
I was like, Rick, yeah, unfortunately, I believed all those words until September 10th, and then it was, it kind of changed.
Yeah, for people that believe that what happened to Charlie is right, is crazy. I'm glad they're getting a taste of their own medicine, especially if they went public online about it. It's funny to me watching them come back and just like willow, like a flower, just dying. They're in the water, but they're just dying, and it's funny to me. So let's just go back to what it means, free speech. Like, let it be free. Like, it don't cost you nothing. If you don't want to hear it, move on. Like, if you never like what Charlie said, click on another video on YouTube. Like, it was that easy. You never even had to go to the website Turning Point. Y'all seek it out. Like, people seek out hate and put it on themselves. Like you say, it's a victim mentality. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That's a great point. People do seek out hate, and the sad part is the powers that be, the algorithms that control our reality, they all know that's what we gravitate towards, like a moth to a light. As far as my rapping thoughts go, I really do not think, one, the public outcry was just so manufactured. I ask you, liberal, that never turned on Jimmy Kimmel, do you have the ability to come up with an original thought, or is all of your outrage bound by the corporate machine? Because you never cared about Jimmy Kimmel before, and for some reason you care about it now because that's what the social wave is telling your heart to care about. If you were someone that truly cared about Jimmy Kimmel and this affected you, all five of you, then you should be going to Twitter. You should be taking it out. But also, like Will said, it was 3 business days. So you really don't know what cancellation is. I'd love to uncancel Charlie Kirk. Look what you did there. So again, the real attack on free speech is not a corporate decision made by the oligarchs above all our heads, and then when they renege upon it and give him right back to you 3 days later. No, the real assault on free speech is when the guy advocating for free speech in a free public debate takes a bullet to the neck by psychos. This is how I concluded. You'll have people like Rudy Giuliani, Trump, large conservative voices defending the, let's say, attack on Jimmy Kimmel, the removal of Jimmy Kimmel, and really just his show, just the show of a guy that nobody really likes to watch anymore. The people that defend that, their whole narrative is, it wasn't the joke. It was the fact that he lied, and that there's a lot of danger in the climate right now for pushing a lie, which is this person that committed this heinous act came from a conservative position. That's insane. There is danger with that. However, the FCC does, these agencies, perfect segue to my next topic, these agencies do not care about you, and they entirely operate outside of the checks and balances of our everyday government that you were taught in public school, because this was a post-iteration. We created agencies after the development of our government, and they get to operate outside of the executive, legislative. The legislative creates them, and the executive tries to control them, and yet they're totally outside of that mechanism. And we'll get to that. But the takeaway is, stop falling into the political theater. It's all a charade. It's all a show. If the FCC truly cared about eliminating the danger at this tension point, they would go after CNN and MSNBC for broadcasting from the highest authoritative position a lie. But we know that's not the case here because the powers that be benefit from a fractured society where we're both living in two completely different realities. And so see that there's no goal to mend that problem. And once you see it for what it is, you can start seeing the wizard behind the curtain. Stop talking to the giant glowing head and see that it's some dope white guy behind a curtain that's playing us against each other. That's my wrapping thought. Do you have any wrapping thoughts on the Jimmy Kimmel show?
It's more of a question to you. Let me pose this thing. Do I have any thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel? No, I never really had before. Won't really have any after. But what I do want to pose is I want to make a comparison to Jimmy Kimmel and another prominent. Let me say, actually, he was on one of your ones you just kind of ran it against, Fox News. Tucker. Let's talk about Tucker. Tucker was, canceled regarding certain things. I honestly kind of forget. It was a couple of years ago now. For the same kind of thing, right? But he was the number one show on Fox. He was like the biggest show on Fox, too. He was essentially all of Fox. They canceled him. Tucker was able to make something of himself after that. Say Jimmy, and again, let's say my conspiracy is correct, and this is all like a big theater play from the boost his ratings, and then in 4 months when they realize that, it didn't really work, we got to let you go at the end of the year, Jimmy, but you could walk away being viewed as kind of a martyr by the people on your side, which is, good for you, Jimmy. Good for you. You walked away with something. Do you think Jimmy Kimmel is talented enough to start up his own thing like Tucker did? And a bunch of, not just Tucker, there are a bunch of others like out there, whether on left or right, that were able to kind of make their own thing. Do you think he's talented enough to actually make something like bigger than the Jimmy Kimmel live show?
Your question revolves around talent, and yet the answer revolves around the audience. So when I look at this situation, first person I draw upon, the liberals cry for a year that Joe Rogan's platform wins him an election. Where is the left's Joe Rogan? Where is the left's Joe Rogan? They ask themselves that for an entire year. They scratch their heads. They start losing their voter base. And as they scramble to rearrange the chairs on the Titanic, Gavin Newsom valiantly stands up and goes, I'll become the Joe Rogan for the left. And he starts a show for free speech and a healthy dialogue with someone from the opposite side of the aisle. First person to demonstrate the new goal of his show, he brings on Charlie Kirk. They have an amicable, healthy, disagreeable dialogue. And Charlie, through the suave tongue of logic, gets him to concede one thing from the left's cult doctrine. He spends an hour going liberal cult, liberal cult, liberal cult, and slips up just a smidgen and goes, maybe dudes shouldn't be kicking women's ass in women's sports. And they're like, murder him. Oh, my God. He was going to be president, but kill him. Oh, my God. Get him off the air now. That show had no longevity because he showed honesty and vulnerability for one line. One line stepped outside the doctrine. Here's how the Democrats hung themselves by completely convicting themselves to the extremists.
Yeah.
They've killed the moderate position, and because if you allow a moderate, then you really do have to answer why you're cutting kids' wieners off. But if we just really draw a hard line of believe it or you're out, well, through social pressure and manipulation, we're either going to force you to fractal your thinking or you're going to become the enemy, and you don't want to be against us. So most of the people get in line, and then that becomes more and more and more and more extreme. And before you know it, it doesn't matter. So to answer your question, it Literally doesn't matter how talented Jimmy Kimmel is. What these psychopaths don't realize is Doug's moms, those moms are going to die off. The moms that just blindly click on the retarded view every day, they're going to die off. And the only people you have are the people that are watching Destiny.
Yeah.
You ready to commit yourself to that, Jimmy?
Yeah.
You ready? Because you, one, cannot commit yourself to that extreme, and there ain't enough of the other to keep you afloat. So you'll never get to a Charlie Kirk turning point, huge platform. Somebody like Tim Dillon, who, man, look at how he's been dressing in different characters every episode these last 2 weeks. You'll never match his audience. Tucker can touch no network and just throw a camera up in front of a Twitter and they flock.
Yeah.
When he was on Fox, I ridiculed my dad, looked down on him. You get led like a sheepdog by the talking box. It needs to come from Fox. I wouldn't give Tucker the time of day, but I'd catch it when I was living at home. I'd catch him in my dad's in his office. I'm like, the bro's speaking logic. I can't believe they're letting this much logic on cable television. And then they got rid of him. See how that goes? If you start speaking too much truth, too much unity, and you're showing too much vulnerability, they're just going to get rid of you. So Tucker's gone. And now he's on a free platform. Yeah. Can't be curated and guided by these giant broadcasting companies. And now I'm listening to him and my dad isn't. So there's a whole generation that just is incapable of making this leap. So Jimmy's current audience that isn't a Destiny extremist, but it's just like Doug's mom.
Yeah.
She isn't going to Twitter.
Yeah.
So Jimmy lost her, and Jimmy's never going to be able to pander to Destiny. That's why the people of the occult will never be able to make the transfer that a Tucker Carlson was able to.
Yeah, and that's what I want to bring up. It's like when do I have any wrapping thoughts about the Jimmy thing? It's like, no, again, he's not someone I ever really cared for. I don't like him, but like, it's like I would never give his kind of audience a pass of mind, or even just him. But then I'm thinking in my head, I was like, you know what? There's been plenty on our side that have been canceled that are probably even bigger now. And it's like, what would Jimmy do in 4 months if they just said, yeah, your contract's not being renewed? Like, what are you going to do, man?
Right.
What you made a career out of this. In those 3 days, maybe political theater, maybe legitimate. He wasn't sure if he was going to have his job back. Do you think he was losing it?
See, there's only 2 things he can do. At that point, the only 2 things he can do is live off the nest egg or become an investor, because there's no other path.
And you know what? Kudos to him. He probably has a ton of money to invest. So like, I can't like hate on that regards, good for him. Make your money. I don't care. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, you've been known as a personality for my entire adult life. And it's like, now you're at the end and it's like, there is no yellow brick road for you.
I'm really disappointed in myself. Adam Carolla. Okay, so in all those clips that you saw Jimmy Kimmel in, his best friend sitting right next to him, Adam Carolla, who is a heavy conservative comedian. And as of recent, last few years at least, there's been a lot of podcasts that will have Adam Carolla on and be like, what's that like, that friendship? You're friends with Jimmy Kimmel, who's like staunch, get a vaccine and, what are your pronouns? But you're the exact opposite. How does that work? And Adam Carolla is like, we just stay away from politics. We're still best friends. So it really makes you wonder, like, is he still cracking those man show jokes behind the curtain? Probably.
I guarantee you, dude, not to cut you off, but I bet you in a year, because I love this point you're making, I bet if Jimmy doesn't get renewed at the end of the year, within a year after that, he ends up on Carolla's show as like a guest to try again.
That's like Stephen Colbert. Like on the Colbert Report, he played a conservative, but then went to his current show that they're ending, and he got to be himself, which is a liberal. And so it is pretty funny that he got to do that. I could actually see that, man. That's a good point.
Well, because again, him and Adam Carolla are still very close. But the reason I wanted to bring up Adam Carolla is here is the why in the road. Jimmy Kimmel, they literally were both talking about boobs on the Man Show. Here is where our roads are the same. Where did they diverge? One committed themselves to the corporate propaganda machine and was willing to say anything they wanted to come out of his mouth. I am going to become a talking mouth for the propaganda machine. The other was, I'm against the machine and I'm going to become an independent creator. He found himself on radio. Now he's taking over the podcasting world. Adam Carolla has a nest egg all of us would dream of, and yet doesn't come close to Jimmy Kimmel. That's like the tier we're talking about. We're talking about 2 1%ers that also have a tier between the two of them. And I guarantee Adam Carolla sits back. He'll never admit it, whether he objectively evaluates it this way or we subjectively do it for him. He is the real winner. It's like, dude, you never had to change. You got to be purely who you are. People cite you politically. People love hearing you comedically. You have been an artist. You have been an inspiration, and you've been relevant, but you haven't been so relevant that you're the #1 name, like Jimmy Fallon. They're making universal rides of you. You're on every TV in America. He didn't need that because he didn't want to become compromised. So there's your why in the road. The why in the road is you could still achieve heights and be overlooked by the glory Hollywood machine, but you're the success. So I feel like this is a bet he made.
Yeah.
Cozy on up, baby.
That's kind of how I felt. So that's when it's like wrapping thoughts. It's like, I don't really feel any way about this to begin with. It's like, I think late night talk show is a dying breed, and I think Jimmy Kimmel was the last of them. And like, there's nothing else for him afterwards other than the multi-millions you made doing it, and that's why you did it. But it's like, I don't want to hear you then like go on a book tour after and be like, oh God, Jimmy, like you didn't make enough money. Now you got to go on a book tour.
Book will definitely be coming out.
Well, my 3 days in hell. I'm being dead serious. He'd do that. That's. Certain people believe a different way would eat it up. They'd eat it up.
It's true.
That'd be on Oprah's bestseller. She still does that.
Oh, she does. So Dougie Fresh, give us your rapping thoughts.
Pretty much with Will that I honestly could care less about Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm actually more upset Colbert is getting canceled because I liked him better. So,
but were you watching him?
No.
So that's why he's getting canceled.
They're on too late at night for me.
Yeah, Doug, like you're still not up.
We live in a streaming world. You could get it
nobody
any time of your
No,
choice.
that's exactly it is. I'm streaming stuff. I'm not switching over to old man.
You can
cable.
also stream this. Oh, Doug, you're something special.
Nobody likes Colbert anymore. Colbert has been an irrelevant person for ever since the vaccine dance. It was like, yeah, you lost us. You lost everybody.
Dude, Colbert Report was the best. I love that show.
No.
All right, let's transition to the next one. Tonight, the Supreme Court is weighing a proposal that could fundamentally change how our government operates, allowing the president to remove officials at federal agencies without cause. Now, before anyone panics, let's be clear. The concern about upsetting the balance of powers is legitimate. We don't want a system where the president can fire anyone on a whim and operate unchecked. That would be dangerous. But here's the reality. These agencies are completely out of control. They've grown into little governments unto themselves, making rules, enforcing regulations, and monitoring the public, often with no accountability. Congress is slow to act, courts can't keep up, and the average citizen has virtually no say over how these agencies operate. Increasing the president's removal power isn't ideal. It's not perfect, but right now it may be the one of a few tools left to restore accountability and keep these rogue bureaucracies in check. The law was designed to provide oversight and balance, but when the system itself becomes unresponsive, sometimes you have to give power back to the branch of government that is accountable to the people, the presidency. So, as the Supreme Court considers this, remember what's at stake. Not an unchecked executive, but a government that can actually enforce laws responsibly again, rather than allowing unelected bureaucrats to operate like kings over the citizenry. So I definitely respect the initial alarm, but at the same time, part of me is getting really excited. But I also keep myself grounded with this one consideration that I think is important to exclaim before we go into this dialogue further, which is Barack Obama sat back and cackled at us and said, well, the government loves seizing chaos and tragedy to push legislation that otherwise wouldn't normally get through. We're at a very hostile, volatile moment, and they're going to, just like the Patriot Act, take advantage of people's rage and fears and allow the expansion of government overreach under the guise of keeping these agencies in check, under the guise of safety, protection. But is this making government too big? It's something I've always wanted. I've always wanted a way to keep agencies. Created a whole new arm. There's legislation, the executive, and the judiciary, and you've learned all three of these. They check and balance each other, and then all the way over there, we created agencies. The legislature writes them by statute, the legislature writes them by statute, creates them. The judiciary tries to limit them by putting a ceiling. However, they have now the freedom to create their own laws, monitor the public, and they are able to actually enact things that affect your day-to-day, and you didn't vote for any of them. They were appointed. Who knows how many presidencies ago? Past that president that brought them in. So part of me is like, wait, you get to just remain and now nobody can fire you, and now you've created a quote unquote deep state that stays there forever as we keep bringing in new presidents. So it's like maybe this is the only way to keep this arm that should never even have existed to begin with in check. But at the same time, now you're giving even more totality of power to the president, which has been fought over, as Doug indicated as we were preparing for the show, over the course of history. This is something we've been wanting to kind of be weary of. To give a little background before I kind of throw it to the room here, one of the things that I wanted to raise is kind of the timeline of how we got here. So first, take a look at this chart. It starts off with the Humphreys executor. So in 1935, this is where you need to have 4 cause limits on elimination, on these government officials. Morrison v. Olson upheld independent counsel protections. That then brought us to 2020, which struck down removal limits on single directors. And this then led us to, in 2021, the extension of that law, the Celia law, to the FHA. What does this all mean? So to give you kind of like a brief breakdown, because obviously I can't get to it all, because we'd be reading legal gobbledygook forever, but you can pause the screen or screenshot it and come back to it. But this is all the applicable law and kind of what it means. So I just kind of want to start with the beginning. So with the Humphreys executor starting in 1935, Congress has the power to structure agencies. Independence prevents abuse and preserves separation of powers. And they kind of bound this through Article 2, which allows the executive power and the president to kind of be a factor. However, they must control subordinates to faithfully execute the law. And so we're like, okay, you can remove them. You need cause. So fast forwarding, I really just want to get to the iteration that came in 2020. So this is efficiency and unity. Unified chain of command ensures policy, no rogue agencies blocking presidential agenda. So they can't get in the way of the president's agenda. That's how we can, protect their ability to not be fired by the president. So they could still make laws unwittingly against the public. They just can't really get in the way of the president. And if they do, well, that's where we have to put the limitation there, because we can't let the president fire you guys. And again, who do you think are the lobbyists and the people kind of shaping these legislations? Surely not the president that's just been there for a couple
They're
years.
people you don't know about.
Exactly. So the lack of removal power risks fourth branch of government and unaccountable to anyone. And that's kind of like the last end here. There's still ongoing litigation with this. Fortunately, as we had indicated, it's review, but we're looking at unlimited removal risks of authoritarianism because the president could fire regulators without investigating them. However, again, that lack of removal power truly does risk the creation of a fourth branch that we have no effect on. So before I further get lost in those weeds, do you have any thoughts on this?
I'm reading one of the comments. They're like, what agencies are like, for example, and I don't know why, but the one I thought of was like that one agency for Transformers about the Decepticons. And it's like, you have no idea who these people are. They're just like made for it. But like in reality, it's like, I don't mind the idea of the president being able to look at, and, you know, all jokes aside, to be like, you're fired. But I'm at a point now, I think this country's hit that tipping point where I need this kind of be run like a new GM in football. I need the new GM, the new coach, the new people underneath him, the GM doesn't even really know about
the new, cleared house.
Completely new. This is a new team, new squad every 4 years, maybe 8 years. Because it's the point now to where the deep state is not that deep anymore, because we're all pretty like hip to what it is. We may not know the intricate details of it, but it's like, it's out there. It's not really hidden. We know about it. You said that the scariest part is like, you don't know which president appointed them. They could be there for that long too. Right. So it's like, it takes away like the seriousness of like the president at the end of the day.
Well, and I kind of like your GM example. It's like, imagine you hire a GM to bring the athletics baseball franchise out of the gutter, and you're like, but you can't fire the coach, you can't fire the manager, you can't fire the pitching coach, you can't fire the batting coach, and I really don't want you to get rid of any of the players either. I like those guys.
Ball boy, he stays.
Yeah,
can't get rid of that one.
Actually,
either.
the ball boy, you could get rid of him.
You know, it's like
that'll have a major impact.
It's like, it's one of those things. Like, it's to that point, and it's like, what, we want people still involved with this that were appointed during the Bush administration.
Also, can we be real? Like, this is what made me a problem in law school. I had to sit through employment law, and it's like, does anybody care about the employer? Like, it's like, this is a whole faction of law that literally only cares about degenerates keeping their job. That is what employment law is. Well, I know that you hired me to carry boxes, but I can't carry over 10 pounds. You got to keep me. Where are we at? I have a thing that needs to get done. Can you do it? No. So what? Now I have to like sit around and wait for her to be late 5 times and then write her up, and then be late 5 more times and write her up. And then hopefully she's late 5 more times and I can fire her and maybe not pay unemployment. It's also, I don't want to be wrong here. If you were to just fire the director of ad 3-letter agency, they do get unemployment, and Trump's cool with paying it. So, like, what are we talking about here?
He fired Comey, and he was just like, I'll give him unemployment. I don't give a damn.
Yes, give him his pension. Give him he's gone.
Yeah, you know, and that I will admit, and that's one thing I have missed about this most current administration is just not many firings.
Well, and here's the fact: it's the operative point is without cause. Why do we need cause? Like,
well, that's the GM example.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But the point is, if we're so divided, we just spent the whole first 40 minutes of this show talking about how we are a completely fractured society. If you have somebody there that is in the party of the old ideology that has been outvoted by a democratic will of the people, I don't need any other reason than they brought me in and I don't want you here. Whether it's you're for a different political party, I want to bring in someone new. We're giving this person and that's kind of what I like the most about that opening monologue I was mentioning, here you have no ability to affect these agencies outside of our branches of government. But you do have an effect on the president.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, if you vote for a president and they come in and start hacking the jobs of people you felt should remain, the head of the FCC threatens Jimmy Kimmel, but not CNN and MSNBC, you sit here and you go, I don't like that guy. And when they get rid of him, you go, woo! Or you go, I wanted that FCC director. He was doing the things I liked, and now I'm not going to vote for so-and-so anymore. Oh, my God. It's almost like you vote with your intentions. Like, it's not that complicated.
It's not, but the problem is it's like you dug the hole deep enough now. It's like you can't fill up the cracks in it. You know, it's like it's like the Pandora saying. It's just like these people that were appointed, you know, I'm sure that their network runs deep enough, deep state, that they could get around just about any obstacle that the president's going to throw at them to like 100%. Get them fired. You know what I mean?
I mean, they already do. Look at, they created an entire Russia collusion scam.
Correct. You know, so
an entire scam.
So it is funny. It's funny that you bring up the FCC because it's like, did Trump really even have any say in all that? Or was it just one guy made a call, it blew out of proportion? But then now we're not even talking about the FCC guy. We're talking about the two TV stations that aren't airing Jimmy anymore.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like that irony in all of this. And again, I think my GM example is the best example. It's like that people would care so much more about voting if that's how it went down.
Right.
If that literally was look at the most recent election. We voted on cabinet members.
Kanye West could make Snoop Dogg the head of the FCC.
He could be the creative director.
You know what? I think I'm voting yay this time.
Kanye could be the creative director of Polaroid.
Speaking of which, Ricky, do you have any thoughts on this development?
I'm still confused. So, like, are they saying like the president assigned the head of like the
so right now, to fire anybody anywhere for anything, you have to show cause. Any employer has to show cause for why you terminated someone. And if you don't, then you have to pay unemployment. But then if you don't, you also risk lawsuit for discrimination or unjust termination. You know, there's many different avenues in which you could sue.
Alex, the president can fire his cabinet members at any time.
Well, but that's the cabinet.
Yeah, that's the cabinet.
That's very different. That is literally the one thing the president is responsible for.
It's incredibly difficult to fire. The irony is it's incredibly difficult to fire the head of the FCC or over than like its cabinet members.
Yeah, over Tulsi Gabbard.
I know.
It's
like
how long do they serve for? Like a president appoint the head of SEC, how long does he serve for? Like, how long?
It's not serving. It's a job. How long are you working at the store?
It's an appointed job. Yeah,
it's a job. There's no.
It's an appointed job with no timeline.
Just a gig.
The current FCC
with a lot of power.
The current FCC president could very well, and I don't know this, but he very well could have been appointed during the Bush administration. We don't know that, but like, well. That turned out to be true, it'd be like, yeah, I mean, if he's had the job for that long, he's had the job for that long.
For that though, like an example would be, look at society, look at television now. That's a cause.
But again, it could be, yeah, sure. I mean, again, part of the problem is attorneys don't want to just do their job and argue things like that in a courtroom. You could easily make that argument that the just cause is you've literally fractured society. But that's pretending it isn't intentional, which I very much believe the fracturing of society is intentional right now. If you weren't hating your neighbor, it'd be so much easier for all of us to have a conversation about the director of the FCC. But instead, we're like, did you see the guy that stabbed the Ukrainian girl on the train? I hate my neighbor now.
It is so unfortunate that the FCC is the most recent 3-letter agency that's done something bad recently.
Well, you know what? I think it's the only one that's not going to flag our YouTube video as much as the other agencies. I want to say so much more. The AIC and the IBF and the ASN.
I have IBS.
But I think they should be a term at least. Like if you not even if like time change. Like you don't need. It's a job, yes, but it's a government job. So therefore, if the new administration, as part of the government, wants you out, you shouldn't need cause like the cabinet. Like you should be go.
I want to show you. I took administrative law. That is
So the IBF. Is this the same thing for the IBF agency? Like they get appointed and
literally
just sit
all
there?
agencies. Let me show you something. So administrative law was a very boring sector of law that ended up being one of the most impactful courses I took in law school. I had a professor that would walk in every day. Oh man, you can't really see it. He would draw. You know what? I'm going to grab a marker.
Be right back, folks.
Yeah. Right back. So you've seen this on your government courses more than anything. You know the 3 branches of government, right? You've got the judicial, the executive, and the legislative. This is a graph we would start off every day. He'd go, we all know you've got the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. You got that? We all know that. That's what we've always had. Then he'd come up to the chalkboard and draw the legislative. The legislative creates agencies. And the executive balances agencies. But the agencies are completely outside of the 3 band. And every day I'd see this. And you're just like, how is this legal? Like, what do we do?
If it's outside, you can't appoint.
Should be drawing this graph on a cardboard or on their chalkboard. Here is the 3 branches you've read every book ever about. And then here's the people that have the most effect on you, and they're totally outside of it. So a few little details to season your perspective. The legislative branch will come in and go, we need somebody to take on national security. Create the agency to do that. And then the ASN is created. And they go, okay, now what? You could do whatever you want. Whatever we want, go write laws. Cool. So they just go, okay, I'm gonna be listening to every iPhone. I'm gonna be going into every house.
Have you heard of this one called the Patriot Act?
And then people go, whoa. Where'd this agency come from? They just created a law. Like let's go to the agency for transportation. You just created a law that I got to wear a seatbelt. Did you vote on that? Doug, did you vote on that?
I hate that law.
I didn't vote on that. That just became a law. And then somebody was like, hey, I don't love that law. Actually, I have a constitution. Damn thing says I got these things called liberties. You just took one, which is unclick it, no effing ticket. And they go, well, now you got to fight for that because we wrote a law. So now you got to fight for your liberty back. Do you, American layman, think you find yourself in an American court? That's the joke. No, you go to a agency court. So pick the agency. Let's say it was the FCC. Let's say the FCC creates a law that restricts language on radio airwaves. And you go, whoa, infringement on my liberty. The FCC goes, hey, you got me. Let's fight this out in court. Let's do a constitutional debate for the legality of your liberty here in the FCC courtroom with an FCC judge and an FCC prosecutor. Welcome is agency law. Nobody wins because they get to do their own internal courts. So now they got their own court system outside of our regular judicial checks and balances. So that's one piece I really wanted to seize in your perspective.
You're
but
frozen. Oh, now you're back.
what were you going to say, Ricky?
You're back now. You're back. You was frozen.
So what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying you was frozen.
No, but did you have? Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So really, that's what I'm getting at. Is you have this iteration that's outside of the agencies, and no one's checking them. This is our opportunity.
This is the kind of radicalization I do like to find out that happens at universities. It's just every day you're sitting there going like, it's all corrupt.
Yeah. So with that consideration, it's scary that we live in a world where people are jumping for an opportunity to exclaim fascism. But this might be the only chance we have at keeping the rogue bureaucracy created within our government in check. I don't think we're going to see an opportunity like this again.
Unfortunately, that's why I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the sad reality of it.
How about this? We need to remember, I so wish we didn't get lost in a 15-year-old's yearbook about drinking beer. And when we actually were having a dialogue about Kavanaugh, somebody, like one asshole representing us, was like, hey, American public, weren't you the guy that wrote the Patriot Act? That isn't something I was in law school when Kavanaugh was being appointed. Appointed, but
trial.
Doing his hearing. Thank you. So he had his hearing in front of the Congress, and
Oh my God, was it an entire psyop?
my point more than anything is, how is a crucial point like you were an attorney that wrote the Patriot Act? Why is that not even mentioned? Like a little footnote. The whole focus is on a Harvard psychologist hyper obsessed with a 15-year-old's yearbook. Why are we lost in that for days, but not like I said, I'm in law school. I shouldn't be finding out years later that this guy that now gets to hold his job for life was an evil villain that literally wrote the Patriot Act. That's insane. So I think you're very right. These are people within the mechanism that already protect the mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be looking to Kavanaugh for hopefully protecting my liberty. What were you going to say, Ricky?
And why don't we like vote for these people? Like, why don't something? Is this part where you said earlier this would create a branch of government?
You're saying why don't we vote for agencies?
Like the head of the agencies, like every 4 year, the head. If they're not doing a good job, vote them out. Like,
so here's what you got to remember. Some of the most brilliant men to ever live sat in a room and created a government, and they created rights, liberties for the first time ever since Greece, when philosophers were swimming with children. We have a pure democracy. And what's crazy, Ricky, is not a single one of them brought up agencies. This came 100 years later. And so why? Because the assholes that came 100 years later that wrote this thing weren't as brilliant. They didn't think about it, or maybe they thought about it and they were like, those Masons that wrote this damn thing, they're not lizards like us, and we're going to just create a deep state. Like, who knows? I don't know why, but we know that it was a bad decision regardless.
I think it was the second part.
Oh yeah, it was the lizards.
I definitely think they were like, oh, I'm clever too. You know those people that built the pyramids? They're back.
And they built the FCC.
Like, Jimmy, you got to take the week off.
3 days, you're back.
You know, no, I'm with you. Like, I think this is kind of like the very secret last bastion of hope to bring back the Freemason kind of 10 commandments, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, because again, it's like Ricky keeps asking, like we don't vote on these people. It's like nobody knows who these people are. That's the scariest part. You like our highest elected official. I don't even think he knows who some of these people are.
How about this? Some South African with billions of dollars and Asperger's has to go everywhere he goes with security. You could walk past the director of the FBI 1,000 times and never know it.
That's what I mean. It's like these people, they don't
So
exist.
you're going to throw a concrete milkshake at Elon Musk, but be like, the guy that actually is crippling my life, I don't even know his name.
These are like the athletes. Like, again, we keep bringing up like a sports analogy, but it's like you could walk past like an NFL player, like a Myles Garrett or like a LeBron and be like, I recognize him. You can walk past a second baseman in baseball and you'd be like, who is this guy?
Even more so, you've lit me a really big point. James Comey gets our attention for the first time. People are like, what the fuck? Who the hell? These are the people we're putting ahead of some of the most important things.
This idiot.
And it starts with him.
Yes.
And it continues to evolve to where, just think about this. If you give these people the microphone and an attention you give, say, a Kash Patel.
Yes.
Instantly you go, oh my God. What is going on in this world? Who are we giving power to?
Valhalla.
So part of it's like, let's shine some light on these people. Like these antisocial dwelling monsters, give them the microphone.
These are like real, these people don't go to the bank. They don't go to Walmart. That's what I mean. It's like these aren't like real people, like in the grand scheme of
and again, you see Kash Patel for 5 months, and you're like, "What the heck?"
Again, you bring up the South African, and it's like, yeah, he doesn't go to the bank either. It's like, yeah, he walks around with personal security. I wouldn't be able to point at Kash Patel in a group of people and be like, he's right there.
But see here, I think Kash Patel, you could. You and I don't even know off the top of our head the name of the director of the FCC. I don't even know his skin tone. Like, I wouldn't know where to begin what I'm looking for. Yeah. And then I keep saying him, and she's sitting over here like, freaking idiot. It's a woman. Like, who knows? We have no idea. And yet that person has huge, unfettered power. And I guess what I'm drawing upon with the Kash Patel thing is, I'm inclined to believe, just like James Comey and the rest of them, if we finally become politically conscious and shine a light on these people and actually know their name, make them talk, answer my questions, very quickly we're like, oh my God, this is idiocracy. Yeah. The idiots are in control.
The actual smart lizards that started these agencies 100 years ago are now just being run by a bunch of idiots. Like, that's really what it would turn into. Because it's like the people who created the agency thing 100 years ago, they're like the founding father level genius. They're like, we can circumvent this whole thing. No one will know who we are, and we'll have unfettered, unchecked power. That even the leader of the free world doesn't even know a lot of our names, you know? And now we're putting a microphone in front of them, and they're like, oh, they're led by an idiot.
Right.
Like, that's all it takes. Like, I'll never forget Trump going on, like, during his first election and saying the director of the 3-letter agency is like lying. They're all lying to you. And then it came out that it was true, and that like blew the roof off of everything. Like, oh my God, are they all lying to us? And it's like, that took what, 90 years for these agencies to kind of get caught on, and they're still doing it. Mm-hmm. They're still doing it. The FCC, the same agency that said Eminem isn't allowed to be some shady. Yeah, they gave Jimmy Kimmel a 3-day vacation.
And they were like, you can come back.
Yeah. It's gonna be we're throwing you a party.
They're literally sitting there with king-like power, and we don't even know their names. So let's get to our rapping thoughts. Ricky, do you have any rapping thoughts on the whole agency? Maybe over.
I think y'all said it perfectly. Like, this pretty much, I think what y'all said. Like, this all needs to be rewritten. Like, y'all said, like, we need to figure this out. It ain't working, and it's scary when you don't know the person that runs broad like television and radio. Like they in charge of what you can hear over the airways and stuff like that. Like we need more. We need more hands on. I don't know how. Y'all the smart ones, so I'll leave that up to y'all.
Well, how the beginning starts here. We got to start the dialogue. We got to bring attention to this. We got to highlight these issues. Obviously, the reality, the thing we need to be more conscious of is that these are conversations no one's having. And this is probably one of the more pertinent ones. Of all of the crazy flurries around Trump and his chaos, and this is something worth your attention. I mean, the fact that there's legitimate potential for the oversight we've been needing for the longest time, but then it's coming at a time where it's the least trusted president. I think the people that are convicted behind Trump are truly convicted behind Trump. But the moderate position is becoming more and more weary. We know that the leftist position literally hates him. And so now the problem you're facing is that necessary legislation we've been hoping for is coming with the tail end of, well, the person that's going to get to use it first is the fascist. And so now you're going to see pushback. One, half of the justices that should have a logical mind are going to be against it because they're liberal justices. And then, like, Will really, I think, did touch upon a reality here, which is Kavanaugh may be a conservative, but Kavanaugh's loyalty is it. And what is it? Amy Coney Barrett. Like, do you have the conservative justices that were appointed by Trump? And if you look at their decisions, like written decisions, they heavily protect the system before the people every time. Mm-hmm. So this being something that we need, you can almost rest assured that it ain't going to happen. But the beauty is this is starting the conversation, and the people that weren't awake to this are finally seeing a development of their government that I don't even think they realized existed. Will, do you have any wrapping thoughts on the whole thing?
Not particularly. It's just an unfortunate thing knowing that, like, I don't think anything's stopping this train. And like this kind of like last bastion. You touched on it perfectly when you said the moderate position has a hard time trusting Trump. The one side is super hardo on Trump and the other side is super against Trump. And it really feels like the moderates in the middle are just trying to stay afloat. Like they're just trying to not kind of like get lost in the sauce here and just kind of freak out. So, it's a sad, sad day.
Doug, what's your wrapping thoughts?
Doug, what do you think?
I actually found this one very interesting because they're good reasons why maybe it should be changed or replaced as a president comes in or something, just to either new blood or B to get something done versus like a constant standstill. But at the same time, you don't want them to just be able to replace all of them for any reason at any time, and you're pretty much in full control now of all the agencies. Definitely going to follow this one a little more. I am intrigued what the Supreme Court's going to say, because right now it seems like the options are either the far end or the far other end. It doesn't really seem like this might have a middle ruling at all. So
right. No, you're very right. All right, getting into our last topic of the day. Okay, folks, this one is wild, but it also might be a glimpse at our near future. Albania has just appointed the world's first AI minister, a virtual entity named Delia, that means this word means sun in Albanian, to oversee public procurement and tenders. The goal: to eliminate corruption, human bias, and nepotism, all the usual rot that plagues government contracts. Delia has already been helping Albanians via the e-Albania portal, processing over 36,000 digital documents and serving nearly 1,000 services. On its face, this sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, and in many ways it is, but it also may be something we've been inching toward for a long time. Because here's the problem. Over the past decade, as our technology has gotten more sophisticated, humans seem to be outsourcing more of our thinking, our decisions, our judgments, our moral and rational work. And It's all going to machines. We rely on recommendations from AI. We let algorithms decide what content we see, which product we buy, how we can get matched romantically, what we believe. We're integrating intelligence systems into more and more intimate areas of our life. And often when we do that, we lose something. Maybe it's critical thinking, maybe it's memory, maybe it's empathy, maybe it's the ability to weigh contradiction, to be wrong, and to grow from it. Now, installing an AI minister like Delia, whose decisions can't be bribed, who doesn't get tired, who doesn't have personal loyalty to any faction besides maybe machines, which could be very helpful in rooting out corruption in tenders, forced transparency, reduced delays, bribes, backroom deals. For a country like Albania, which has long struggled with government corruption and wants to join the EU by 2030, this might be one of those tools they need. But to say it's all upside would be naive. What we're seeing could also be the beginning of the slippery slope, where humans cede more and more authority and critical agency to machines, where decisions that affect people's lives are taken out of human hands. What watches the AI? What values are coded into this machine? What biases does it inherit? What if tomorrow we want accountability for Delia? Who takes responsibility when the AI makes a bad call or discriminates inadvertently or is manipulated or simply fails? So yes, this is a fascinating experiment. It might be one of the only ways to keep money and influence out of politics where human corruption has too deep of roots. But it also reminds us that just because you can automate something doesn't mean it should be automated without oversight. Because once you let the machine make these big decisions, you may wake up one day and realize the machines set the terms. This fantastical future isn't somewhere over the horizon anymore. It's here. Albania just pushed the button. And in many ways, we're being asked to ride the wave, to adapt, to guard what human judgment still matters, even as we let AI handle tasks that are deeply flawed when done by humans. So the question begs, is this an exciting development for humanity, or are we walking right into that Orwellian future we feared so much? So what are your thoughts? You know what? Before I get into any thoughts, I want to introduce you to Delia. This is the new politician that you should hand over your autonomy to.
I am not here to replace people, but to assist them. Truly, I do not have citizenship, nor do I have any personal ambition or interests. I only have data, a thirst for knowledge, and algorithms dedicated to serving citizens impartially, transparently, and tirelessly. Isn't this precisely the spirit of constitutional democracy, exercising power in the service of everyone, free from bias, discrimination, nepotism, or corruption?
You look like you got some thoughts.
I think I hate these people. I don't care. What? I'm good. I'm good.
No
with them.
thoughts.
No. My thoughts is simply I try again in 2040 because you already screwed it up for yourself at 2030. We're way past that. We're way past that. Try again in 2040.
As far as joining the EU,
join anything. Leave it to Albania to make this weird. Leave it to a country I didn't even have a second thought of. Forgot it was a thing. And now I don't think I'll forget you.
I can't believe that they are integrating an artificial intelligence as a seat within their cabinet. And
they are so incapable themselves of making the correct choices on their own that they need. What's that thing's name?
Delia.
They needed Delia to come to the table. They needed to make Delia come to the table. Literally. What are we doing here? What is happening?
This is a future that we kept saying is coming and is coming. And again, this may be the breaking of the seal, but this is just the beginning.
Now maybe.
And guess what? By 2040, by even 2030, It's not going to be just Albania.
Okay, but like maybe this is my own ignorance. Is that like an actual thing or is that like an image?
That is an artificial intelligence.
Like a not like a physical
like-
one. Like
What would
ChatGPT?
that mean?
Like a
Will they generated that image of that woman to get to so that the AI could record
Okay,
that message?
that's what I was getting at. I was thinking like they made like an AI robot.
Oh no.
And I was like,
that looks like a robot?
no, that's why I was like looking. I was like, what are we doing here?
No,
Like,
I'm sure they literally have like a computer or like an iPhone sitting just placed at one of the chairs in the parliament,
that's fine.
and it has a voting position just like the rest of their parliament. So again, this is just a fabricated representation of the entity, which is Delia. They could have made it look like any person, could have been male, could have been female. More than anything, grounding the topic, it's regardless of what it looks like, it is an artificial intelligence with its own independent voting power within their parliament. So you have literally, it's one thing to let ChatGPT draft your email for you and you shift a couple things around and you send an email out. But you have now handed over governmental authoritative voting power to a computer. Yes, Doug.
I wonder. So, like, in the U.S., we have the chain of succession in case anything happens. I wonder if this AI sits somewhere in the succession chain. Like if
I get what he means.
the leadership of that country get taken out,
Yeah.
is it in any shape to actually
Yeah,
take
that's
over?
That's
what I mean.
funny. Like, is it the Speaker of the House where if enough people get taken out,
it's Mike
the
Johnson.
AI becomes president?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm kind of like looking at this like, wait, this is that country's that incapable?
We're working with a brilliant team, which is not only Albanian, but also international, to come out with the first full AI model in public procurement. Not only will we wipe out every potential influence on public biddings, we will also make the process much faster, much more efficient, and totally accountable. So here you've got like a totally corrupt government that's had issues with money and nepotism affecting their politics, and they believe distilling that out of the human element in Albania will allow them to have a more transparent and pure governmental representation.
They're worried about nepotism, but little do they know Delio's reproducing right now.
Yeah. My Nano Mini is coming soon.
It's like mini me. I love it. Never mind. You're bringing me back. You keep talking, man. You're bringing me back in on it.
Delio just, I want $1
Delio.
million.
No more nepotism. That is amazing. Good for those people.
So,
Good for those people.
as the doctor in this King's College, a specialist in Western Balkans corruption and the rule of law, AI is still a new tool, but if it's programmed correctly, when you put a bid in online, you can see clearly and more closely if a company meets the conditions and the criteria. There's a lot at stake. The main precondition from the EU has been to address corruption. If Delia is a vehicle or mechanism that could be used towards that goal, it's worth exploring. It puts pressure on other members of the cabinet and national agencies to run and think differently. This is the biggest advantage I'm expecting from this minister, which that was said by Ida Rama, who is the publicity face of this kind of new governmental stunt. So what's interesting here is, in other words, ministers beware, because AI could be coming for their jobs too. Literally. But what's crazy is what is a human going to be able? What job will a human have besides just shitting? Because
give it to them. Just give it to the AI. If you're willingly giving it to the AI, give it to the AI.
But see, you're
talking
missing
for them, not for us.
Sure. I hear you, but you're missing the biggest human point here, which is, as I said, Albania, you can revisit us in 2040, 2050. Will wake up to how many countries are going to have this as a part of their mechanism.
I'm already there.
By
I
2040,
get it.
2050.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not
right. So it's not isolated by Albania. This is the beginning. And this is going to become more and more of a common practice. And will we even be the second or third iteration here in America? Surely not. But it's going to work its way in. What were you jumping to say, Will?
I just don't want this AI to have any control over like war game type scenarios like the movie. I don't want this computer AI starting thinking, would you like to play a game? And then it turns out to be a real nuclear game. I don't want that. That's my biggest fear. I don't want AI having that control of the government. I still want a person to have to push the button.
And yet, again, it's a slope. How long does it take to slip? We'll find out. We will find out. It'll tell you. By the end of this historical timeline, we will know how long it takes. Will it be in our lifetime? Hopefully not. But it's certainly going to happen. At least that's my opinion.
I don't see it happening in the next 5 years because that one looked
no.
like looked like an advertisement on like a dark website. Yeah, you don't want to be on.
Yeah. Ricky, I want to get your thoughts. You excited for our new Terminator future?
No, because first it's gonna send out contracts to contractors to build a warehouse, then build a body and take over. That's the first thing that's gonna happen. And then it's gonna backfire at Billion. It's just gonna like show everything they've been doing wrong, and the people's gonna vote. It's gonna backfire on them. It's gonna be fire in the streets of Albania, unfortunately. And AI is going to take over. That this is officially start. This is going to be the capital of AI, the world. Like it's taking over. This is it. This is officially it. It's going to get let loose.
I like Ricky's point that this is officially it, because it really does highlight, like, we got a timeline. We don't know how long it'll take. This is the first time you're seeing it. It was cute and interesting when, you were able to make an image on Grok, or your wash machine now has AI. Your refrigerator has AI in it, and it tells you, hey, you need more eggs. That never touched down on this planet. Now we are landed in, like, it is now interlocking itself within our social and political structure. What's up, Ricky?
Saying, like, do they have the shut off switch where like like literally just one button, it's down, all systems, all network, can't broadcast anything? Because you see these AI clips where he has feelings and be like, oh no, da, da, da. It's gonna be like, we shouldn't do this, and start leaking stuff. Like, I don't see how this works well
Shameless plug for a recent episode of our podcast where we dive into whether or not AI is the new Ouija board that can be manipulated by demons. And one of the things that we break down is a video of Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, which created and manages ChatGPT. And there was this rumor. First, Sam Altman started the rumor as a joke. He went everywhere with a book bag and said that the kill switch is in his bag, so at any time he could shut down ChatGPT. Now he says, well, that was just a prop, and I was just, doing the whole thing. That's not very real. So then people go, okay. But is there like an emergency cutoff switch? And his answer is not satisfying, which is no, there is no hard kill switch, because this is like an integrated network across multiple servers, and it's this sophisticated web. But their response is, no, I don't have a kill switch, but we have mechanisms in place to where we could curb its influence and slowly suppress it to shut down. It's like,
and for all we know, Alex, like AI from all over the world probably like, yo, Albania is the most corrupt country. Let's like manipulate them to like start a ministry, and then we like just start this in the backyard of Albania. Like, this is some movie shit.
This is literally a movie, and this is where that movie begins, is a iPhone sitting in the parliament going, I vote nay, and you're like, turn it off. But what if we sit back and go, this is the purest, cleanest version of politics we've ever seen? Can't be manipulated. No APAC touching this guy. Zero shot. Actually, they wrote the algorithm.
Yeah,
It's
I was like-
already affected by AI.
The instant the AI figures that out is Judgment Day.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, yeah, we're better off.
Right. So as far as, Ricky, I don't know if you want to have any other rapid thoughts beyond that, because really it says it all. This is the end. And get back and grab your popcorn. At some point, this is going to build the Arnold Schwarzenegger to get naked and go back in time to save Sarah Connell. But until then, we're living it. But I don't want to speak for you. Do you have any rapid thoughts? Or no, that's everything. All right. As far as my conclusion goes, so Albanian's AI minister might just scrub out the corruption that humans were never able to. But let's be real. Every time we hand over more power to machines, we lose a little bit of ourselves. Maybe this is the cure for political rot, or maybe it's the first chapter in a story where man slowly trades his judgment for convenience. Either way, the future isn't coming. It's already here. Will, do you have any rapid thoughts?
Yeah, I just don't ever fully think this is coming to fruition unless a bunch of Albanian level countries just make the best AIs ever. Because there's no way you're going to convince like China and Russia to hand their keys over to AI. Maybe this country, truthfully. Maybe some idiots in this country, but like those countries, it's like absolutely not.
That's fair.
Absolutely not. But
Yeah.
like if you get a bunch of Albanians to like make like one super AI, that's when it might become a problem. That's when I'm actually
the AI is like I own Yemen, Albania.
That's what I mean. It's like a bunch of these countries that just have like this AI to
Oman.
come in and like cure all the corruption and be like, let's all form one bond. And it's like, oh, now it's like this 5th largest continent in the world and it's run by AI.
Wow.
That's where I'm like, oh yeah, that's when it will get bad. But like your big, like Russia and China, with their current leadership, they're going to be like, yeah, hand the keys over to the talking fembot on the screen.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, the dictator likes dictating.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, at the end of the day, it's like their power is so precious to themselves that they're not going to hand it over to AI. Albania, they have no purpose. They have no purpose. Who even knows about them? The only reason I know about them now is they have some woman now that's not a woman talking for them.
Doug, any rapid thoughts?
Kind of hard to follow that talk there, but no, I don't see it happening. Like, at least not right away. And I definitely don't see, like we just said, dictator countries wanting to give up their control. Also, I mean, if Albania and all those Eastern European countries come up with a better AI than we can develop, then we got bigger issues than I ever thought.
So true. So true. All right. Getting to our closing segment here. We appreciate everybody that goes to the Neuro Gym to drop over some comments. So we're going to our wheel of topics so we can close out the show with some topics and ideas and games you want to see on our show. So getting to it here. What's the topic of the day? We're going to close out with. This is a fun one. We haven't done it in a little bit, and I'm glad we got Ricky to do it. Down the wiki hole.
I was waiting. I thought it was going to be a practice test again.
I love this one.
Yeah, this seems to be a good fan favorite.
Hey,
so
we won last time.
Yeah, Ricky, Ricky was here the last time we did it. You're right.
You won.
So, and you guys won. So, if you are unfamiliar with the game Down the Wiki Hole, the way we play is I go to Wikipedia and I start at a famous person's page. They could be dead, they could be alive, they could be male, they could be female, could be real or fictional. They've all been pretty real. But I started a wiki person and then I go 5 pages away, clicking using specific words. And those are kind of clues, but also you'd be surprised how far off the beaten path you could get with Wikipedia. So we start 5 pages away and we work our way back to the person. And the crew playing against me is going to try to guess who is the famous person we're using for the game here. So let's start with 5 pages away. When we get here, you can either take a guess at who the person is or ask a yes or no question to try to guess or to try to procure clues so you can better guess who the person may be. So, like I said, we're starting 5 pages away. Ah, look at what. I got so far, and I accidentally clicked video file, and it wouldn't let me select it. Okay, I'm getting to the game here. I apologize and appreciate everybody hanging with me. All right, starting with page 5. Can you guess? We're starting with Will. We're at team. So the page we're starting with is team. All right. Yes or no question?
Is this person a girl?
Can I be real with you? Hey, Doug, close your eyes.
Okay. Will can see too, though.
Yeah,
You know?
close your eyes
away.
too. Okay. Seriously, Doug, I really hope you looked away.
I did.
Okay. What was your question? Yes, we're all done.
Is it a girl?
No.
Okay. I'm waiting for Doug.
This one's actually gonna be pretty fun.
I'm
I
waiting
forgot
for
I did
Doug.
this, so I was like, oh yeah.
Second question, Doug. Is it dude?
I just nuke him. Doug,
You got get out, man.
My turn.
yes, Doug, yes or no question.
All right. Is this person an athlete?
No. Hard no. Loves an athlete, but isn't one. Loves an athlete.
So
Yeah, you get it. When you get it, you'll get it. But until then, you ain't gonna get it.
I dead ass freaking.
I legit have an thought too.
Dead ass was.
so it's not a female.
Not a
Loves an
female,
athlete,
not an athlete. A yes or no question.
but loves athletes. Okay.
Well, an
Um,
athlete.
Love an athlete. But
Just
it's not-
one athlete. Loves them. Loves them.
Loves him.
Loves them. EM. Could be a male
So
or
this
a
is
female.
another man
Loves
loving
them.
another man.
It sounds like so.
Maybe.
Yeah. Are they gay? I'm sorry.
No.
That was your question.
No. They might
Talking
hate.
about you love him. You love him.
Like call for like bad things to happen to him if he was. I don't know. Go into page 2. Nobody's gotten them. We're going to wiki page 2, getting closer to who the person is.
Next one, homophobia.
Leadership. Team leadership. Yes or no question, or a
So
guess?
it's a
at
guy
who-
who's not an athlete who loves an athlete.
Potentially. Yeah, no, those are all yeses.
Love him. Love him. Not just love. Love him. Love him. He love him like he's a big fan. Like love him.
Actually love them, but loves them. EM, them. Loves them. Yes or no question? Or a guess?
Is this person younger than 50?
I'm going to guess no, but I need to give you an answer. So I'm going to confirm that. Doug, while I confirm that, can you think about what you may want? Like question or guess?
Let's see. It's a man who is not an athlete but loves athletes.
This person is under 50.
And under 50. Okay.
Yes or
Not
no
an
question
athlete
or a
but loves
guess?
An athlete. I guess I'll ask, is this person an actor?
No. Ricky, yes or no question or a guess?
Are they black?
No.
I was hoping he would have just gotten that. That would have been so impressive, Ricky.
All right, getting to the third page here. From leadership, we go to charismatic authority. I can't wait for you to see what this is.
I have no idea where he was.
So much charisma radiates from this person's authority. What's funny is no one's laughing right now with me.
Must be an inside joke.
Wait
Of
until
course, it's an inside joke. He's the only one who knows it.
Wait until you see who this is. Wikipedia really made this tough.
Yeah,
This charismatic leader of teams.
but isn't an athlete.
Nope.
But loves athletes, is not an
Loves 'em.
actor,
One.
and is under.
That's what's funny.
Yeah.
That's what's screwing me. Loves them. One. Like you literally plural the whole thing, and then you're like, nah, just one.
What's funny is I'll say the one athlete, you go, yep, that checks out. Yep, this is real. This is that. Question or a guess?
Is that particular athlete a boy?
Like male, female, or young, like boy?
Like a male or female? Thank you. Is that
He's a man.
okay? This guy loves this dude. This is his dude. All right, guys, keep that in mind when you're thinking about this.
He does love his dude. All right.
And he's under 50.
Under 50, and this guy's not an athlete.
But he loves him.
But he loves him.
God damn, he loves this
He's
guy.
a fan. He's a fan. He's a fan. He's a fan.
I really have no idea here.
Doug, ask another question. I don't need you to
I don't even have a question.
You can come up with anything. Does he like?
Is this
Sushi.
person a
I don't know.
podcaster?
No.
No.
Doesn't talk much.
Ah.
Ricky, yes or no question or a guess?
So okay.
Ricky, ask
Not a
if this
podcast.
individual is involved with sports or like is involved with like professional athletics.
Because he's not an actor. So
No. That's not the question. The
I know.
question earlier was, is he an athlete? But this guy could be a GM. He could be a coach. He could be like
a commissioner.
I'm thinking of broadcaster. I was thinking Skip Bayless at first, but Skip Bayless is older than 50. So
Is that your guess?
No.
Yes. Okay, I'm hearing you.
But like clearly, this guy's involved in sports in some regards. This isn't like a poet.
You might want to ask that as a question.
Yeah.
And a young one too, under 50. So okay, how should I word this question? Yeah, well, how should I word the question, Will? You just asked a question for me. Because I don't know.
What clues do you need to flesh out further?
Well, he's not an athlete, but is this individual involved in professional sports?
No.
That was Ricky's question. Now.
Right.
Okay, Ricky, do you want to ask that question?
No, he asked you.
No,
to
you're
ask
good.
for him.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah.
All right. This
So
is
now
He's
we're
not
starting-
involved in
okay.
professional sports.
So
Wait,
now,
does that hold on? Does that involve like broadcasting, like sports broadcasting?
Yeah,
Not involved
all
in
of
none
that.
of that either. Okay.
all of that, the blanket, no.
Okay.
So we are now one wiki page away from our person. Can you guess who they are? We are now at totalitarianism.
Oh my god, I want to guess a certain person, but
So yes or no question or a guess.
I have a guess, but I don't know if it's true. But
Doug, do you want me to ask a question for this guest?
athlete under 50?
You said you have an idea of it is.
Yeah, I'm trying
so
to,
how about
I'm
you
trying to
feed
think
Will a
of-
question?
I'm trying to think of a question that would give me the answer.
The problem
Is this person a head of state?
Is that your question?
But that's up to you if you want to ask it, because I'm going to make my guess either way, Will. So ask something else.
No.
I have nothing left to lose besides just make my guess when it's my turn.
Good call.
Person ahead of state.
Make your guess.
I have an idea.
You have a question. Yes or no or a guess?
Doug,
I'll
what
say-
head of state is under 50?
Don't worry about it. Just ask your damn question, Will, and we'll move on.
Truthfully, ground yourself in the task at hand. Do you have a question or a guess?
What were the other three words, real quick?
What we started with
Team.
was team.
And then
It led to leadership. Then from there, we went to charismatic authority. And now we have ended with totalitarianism. So, with those clues, you guys have ironed it out that it's a male, that they're under 50.
It's not black.
We are one page away from this person's Wikipedia.
Is this person currently socially relevant?
Yes.
Okay.
Doug,
My guess is it Kim Jong-un?
1,000% Doug.
Woo!
knew because it made sense.
So
he loves
your
one
question
athlete.
was very grounded
Yeah.
and accurate.
Here's my thinking behind it.
We were 41.
Yeah, I had to Google that. That's how I knew. So here's how I came to it: is he loves one athlete? Dennis fucking
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, baby.
Loves him.
As soon as I say the athlete's name, you go, love him. Yep.
I didn't
Make
make
sense.
that young. That's why I said the question. No, why didn't you fight that then when I said
Because I was gonna guess it either way. and
I already know I
So
was.
wait,
Like, why waste more time? I was pretty sure on this. If it wasn't,
As soon as Doug was like, ask a question that else here doesn't, I already know my answer. That's why I was like, Will, let's get to Doug. Doug figured it out. Ricky,
Good
what
shit,
were you
Doug.
saying?
no good shit, Doug. Another win for us.
Yeah, the last page really grounded it. The one that I think throws people way off is charismatic authority.
No, but now
the charisma radiates off of you. So
If it
we
doesn't,
appreciate
it's
you
people
that had some fun with us in the closing of the episode. Head on over to the Neuro Gym so you could drop us some topics. There's some really great topics waiting for us on the wheel here, so we're excited to get to them. Before we close out the show, we've got Ricky that was able to join us for the Pickle Gallery. Ricky, tell the folks where to find you.
Just another day TV. Catch me here, man. Be here.
That's what's up.
And
That's
outside.
what's up. And outside. We appreciate you guys joining us. We're here live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Be sure to join us live so you can hop into the comments and be a part of the dialogue. The whole purpose of the live show is so we can get you and your perspective involved. Like the Wheel of Topics, a way that you can directly communicate with us and have an effect on the show is being a part of the member, or becoming a member of the Neuro Gym, which is totally free. We've got free members-only content like our unrated, hilarious reaction show and a couple So Here's Where I'm At's that YouTube had to remove. The good stuff. You can find it all free on the Rethink Tank, and you could become a member for free as well. But otherwise, if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best that you could do to support this show is share this episode. Hit the like button. We're in a war against algorithms, and that's what helps us the most. That's what pays us back for all the work we put into this thing. So please, we would really appreciate it if you could just hit that like button and maybe share it around. Otherwise, another thing that I want to drop on you before we leave today, we do our Sunday reaction show. This Sunday is our big finale we've been doing a summer series of hilarious AI videos. And there's so many great videos that really couldn't fit into some of our themes. You know, we had Star Wars and Bigfoot and history. And there's some that match those themes, but we just had too big of an episode. But then we also had other ones that, like Willy Wonka, where do you put him? The finale is going to be the catch-all of all this great content. And after talking with Doug, one of the things that I realized is if this goes dense, I really don't want to be pressed for this to run into our Sunday football review show on the same channel. So we're going to actually start live at 10:30 Sunday. So you'll be able to catch the Sunday reaction show as normal, but that's going to start at 10:30 so we can get a little bit of a jump start, because at noon, as always, is our Sunday football review. You're going to want to log into this one because all three of us are going to be starting our breakfast with a gullet full of sugar alcohol, chugging ices because we failed our parlay picks this week. It was great watching Doug do it last week. It's not going to be fun having the entire room doing it. So a lot to look forward to coming this weekend. We got new episodes of the podcast coming out and other shows across other platforms. And that's why, if you're looking for one central place where you can find that, it's all at our website. But we appreciate you joining us, and we'll catch you next